And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock show. It is Tuesday, April 2nd. I am Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist. We are brought to you by Sleeper. Got 7 games, I believe, ahead of us. Should be an interesting slate. And we just got the news that it is likely that we will be seeing Joel Embiid tonight after being out all day. No longer. He is now technically questionable, but trending to play. Mo Bamba out for this one. Awful stuff. Hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. What's good, man?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be fun, but if nothing else, I mean, just from a basketball fan perspective, I'm excited to watch him play a little bit of basketball here. Otherwise, yeah, no, it's a little bit of a headache. It's going to be a fun slate. You registered NBA and MLB. I registered NBA and MLB. So we've got our work cut out for us the next 70 minutes.
Oh, man. This is going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey. I'm excited for it.
Sure is.
Well, basketball got a little different. My estimation right now is that Joel Embiid, we should probably just start with Embiid and get it out of the way. He's not, I would not expect him to come back and play 30 plus in this spot. That would make very little sense to me.
No.
These games only matter to Philly in the long run. I assume they're going to try to slowly work him back. We're not talking about a guy that is just drowning in conditioning to begin with. My first assumption is something in the 24-minute range. I'm guessing we don't really have to care about that in terms of like using him, but it probably means that you don't use anybody else from Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's probably the better way of looking at it. I mean, I will say this. He has not played a single game this season where he played less than 29 and a half minutes. So I know it's his first game back. I know that we kind of should be coming at it from that assumption. I had put him in at 26, and we had talked a little bit before the show that I thought it was maybe a little bit high and a little bit aggressive there for like where we should be setting it. But like, I guess minutes upside probably is dependent on what the game flow is. Maybe like you can maybe see him walk into a couple of extra minutes. I mean, I don't think there's any scenario where he plays less than 20. So that kind of torches that. He's 11K, but it is OKC. Him against Chet Holmgren, a team that actively doesn't try to rebound, which is such an interesting thing from the Oklahoma City Thunder side. I mean, being one of the better teams in the West, they just actively don't go out of their way to go do it. And without SGA, without Jalen Williams, I mean, this is definitely a game environment that there's going to be interest in getting to something, but Joel Embiid probably not a part of that plan.
No, I mean, like, even in the best case scenario here, no matter what you do for his projection, he's going to look worse than Nikola Jokic. He's going to look worse than Giannis. He's going to look worse than Wemby. At that point in time, you're fighting a very uphill battle to just simply try to play him.
Yeah, no doubt that it's probably one of those things where he's going to be like 1 or 2% owned. He's going to be over-owned at that number relative to what any minutes projection is going to be.
When I popped him in for 24, I split 24-24 between him and Paul Reed. For those that don't know, Mo Bamba also out in this spot. If that's the case, it's certainly going to remove any sort of interesting usage projection you tried to give someone like Tyrese Maxey when he wasn't in. Maxey's usage drops multiple percentage points with no Embiid around. Tobias Harris's usage rate drops multiple percentage points with no Embiid around. Kelly Oubre drops multiple percentage points with no Embiid around. Sensing a theme? You guys should be. Everybody changes here. Embiid, on the other hand, is probably like a 40% usage guy today. I don't think that you can get there. I just made a couple changes to rates. I think the more interesting center to talk about from Philly is probably Paul Reed with no Mo Bamba around 4,800.
That's kind of what it is. I mean, you take those and put it to like 24-24, him and Embiid. I mean, is that kind of what you're doing, or is it like 24-22 still going like a little bit shorting with Paul Reed? Because we had him at 22, I believe. I mean, they just go true split there. Maybe we run into an opportunity to get to some 4,800 Reed. I mean, he would have been the most popular play on the entire slate in the event that you got Mo Bamba out and Joel Embiid just wasn't playing. But I mean, is there a chance where it's like 20-26, like something like that, where Embiid plays less than we think?
I think we see him go do something along this. This would be my assumption, especially for somebody like Embiid. I assume he warms up once we get the confirmation that like that went well. I think we're going to see him play like the start of the first, the start of the second, the start of the third, the start of the fourth, 5 to 6 minute rotation, somewhere in that 20 to 24 range, because you don't want him to warm up and then sit for 6 or 7 minutes and then get back up and do it again. So my guess is if he's playing, he's starting to keep him warm, but they could also just have him like riding an exercise bike in the back for 6 minutes until they check him in. I don't think it matters much one way or the other. I'd rather see Paul Reed start if I wanted to play Paul Reed.
Agreed.
So just wanted to touch on that out of the gate, because talking about Joel Embiid in this game is obviously not something we've been able to do for a while. So welcome back, Embiid. Should be interesting to see. Let's talk about the pay-ups for the rest of this slate. We have way more than we had yesterday. We got Nikola Jokic sitting at the top of the heap at 12K. Giannis, 11.5. The aforementioned Joel Embiid at 11 flat. Wemby, 10.8. AD 10-4, and I'll include the 9K guys for today. That's $9,800 LeBron James, $9,400 Anthony Edwards, and $9,200 Jalen Brunson. So I ask you, who's the best pay up?
I mean, come on now. It's definitely going to be just getting to as much ad nauseum of Giannis Antetokounmpo as you possibly can. I mean, when you don't have Damian Lillard on the floor and you get an opportunity to get to him against the Washington Wizards, there's just no way that I'm not coming at this from the approach where 11.5 Giannis coming off of what, 82, 76 in specific spots where you don't have Damian Lillard on the floor. I mean, Giannis is such an absolute smash here. You're going to see like 1.7 go up to around 1.8 and a half, 1.9. Best matchup in the NBA you could possibly run into. I don't see any way that you don't just get to more Giannis than any of the other pay-ups unless there's something you're getting sneaky with.
There is something, or at least there was something that I was getting sneaky with earlier today.
Okay.
I think that Giannis is the best pay up option on paper. Like, ownership be damned. He's your cash pay up option. That's the direction you're going. When we started earlier today, now I'm grabbing what our most recent ownership update was 5 minutes ago. So let me toss this in here now just to make sure that I have the correct information, because if it changed, this will change for me. Nope, that's not the correct ownership information. That's baseball. So I don't think Shane Bieber is the chalk play for me today.
We're off to a great start. 55% Shane Bieber here in
exactly
in NBA DFS. What a time to be alive.
So our last run had Giannis 40 and Nikola Jokic 8. I don't think that disparity makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you pick up the benefit of Giannis having power forward, and I get that distinction is slightly different. I like the idea of going to Jokic in the large field contest tonight. I don't even want to say in lieu of Giannis. I'm going to have some Giannis, but I think Jokic is getting slept on here. His matchup is equally awesome. Spurs are missing a bunch of guys. Wemby's not really like a Jokic matchup. That's not really like the concerning factor for me. I think this is a great spot for Nikola Jokic against a San Antonio team that is missing Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, and he's pulling less than 10% ownership right now. I'm fascinated by Jokic today.
I don't think that that's a terrible way of looking at it. I mean, we're waiting for some news to still trickle in here, and one of those pieces is going to revolve around this basketball game.
Yeah.
You want to get confirmation that Jamal Murray is going to be out. That would be something that is useful. He is officially questionable, still has that right knee issue. If you get him off the floor, Jamal Murray, I mean, we've just seen Jokic go crazy. 32.6% usage in nearly 1,200 minutes with Jamal Murray off the floor this season. And, you know, there's still going to be the opportunity where the assist rate can kind of make up for that. But Jokic had a 1.81 DraftKings points per minute player with Jamal Murray off the floor this season. Yeah, that's an absurd number, but getting that confirmation matters, because I do think if Jamal Murray ends up playing, it isn't exactly ideal to be getting to him in a 17 and a half point spread, trying to go too cute with it, because I mean, we're talking about a full 1.2 DraftKings points per minute difference on his baseline rates here with Jamal Murray out. So like, I think that's just something to be paying close attention to. I don't think you can do a whole hell of a lot about it. It's more of like, you know, you're getting that ownership discount as is, and then you could just feel extra good about it if Jamal Murray ends up out, because any annihilation is going to come purely by way of Jokic going berserk, unless Michael Porter Jr. at 6,700 just starts throwing and having one of those games where there's really no assist to be had because it's just ISO ball to him. They've done that a couple of times, but like, yeah, just being cognizant that that's a choice you're making on this slate. Don't completely hate it.
Yeah, and that's again, ownership is going to tell the story here. Like if Giannis has come down from where he was just a little bit, like if it's 40 and now it's actually 32 and Jokic isn't 8, it's 12. Like that equation is just going to change for me. And I'm going to end up with a little bit more Giannis and a little bit less of Jokic in this spot. When the disparity was 4-1, I was like, okay, that's a pretty sizable gap for Nikola Jokic at this point. And then you also have someone like Anthony Davis sitting there at 10-4 who's pulling some ownership, about half of what we've got for Giannis. But again, he's got power forward eligibility, makes it way easier to get to him on a day where you have Chet Holmgren with no SGA and no Jalen Williams, Walker Kessler with multiple dudes out for the Jazz, projecting as, if not the highest owned guy, close to it today. So we do have plenty of center options, but any day that I can get Jokic sub 10%, I'm like immediately at least a little bit interested that he just goes out there and has like 20, 20, and 20.
Yeah, as you should be. I mean, we've seen him go into Minnesota and put up those eruption games in like the most difficult spots. The Spurs at home, when he's at home here, this is far from the most difficult spot on planet Earth. I mean, him and Wemby is going to be a fun thing to watch over the years. It's still kind of outclassed when you put Jokic on the floor against anybody at the moment, let alone a rookie. So I am definitely a big fan of Jokic at this kind of an ownership thing. But as you said, it's going to be a little bit of a seesaw thing where you want to be adjusting to wherever that ownership lands on this next run. And as we get closer to lock, we still have 45 minutes and Giannis does lock right off the bat. So you kind of have to make a stand with him and what you're going to be doing with him relative to ownership before you have to worry about anything with Jokic, because we'll still be able to kind of carve out our shares of him. Anthony Davis, locks out at that exact time too. So that's going to be what, like 60% of lineups that end up having at least one of the two locked into it. So that'll be a really fun thing to pay attention to, what happens with these ownerships on these guys up top.
We got an ownership update 1 minute ago. Giannis is now 45. We also have Gordon Hayward at 72. So we'll talk about fading him in a little bit.
Great. I was thinking the same thing. I was just like, what am I going to do with this Gordon Hayward madness? Because I get why it's happening. Like, I totally get it. You're now missing two pieces of the puzzle. And it's not that Gordon Hayward can't get ratcheted up with some of these minutes, but like, you're asking him to do a hell of a lot at 70+% ownership here. And there's a lot of other guys that I think are in line for usage before it's going to necessarily just be de facto Gordon Hayward.
Based on this ownership now, I assume that I end up with now more Nikola Jokic than I had prior to this conversation instead of less. So I had them flip-flopped. I had 32 Jokic and 10 Giannis this morning. Based on that disparity now, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens even more so. Do you like any of the other pay-ups? Because I find your boy Anthony Edwards to be pretty sneaky today.
I love Ant today. I mean, I love Ant all the time. We're talking about somebody who's routinely over 30% usage without Cat in this lineups. I mean, he was going to be over 30% as is, but like, we're talking way up there without Cat on the floor. And the positionality for him is always going to make him an intriguing guy to be paying up for in lineups. He's still not appropriately priced for these kind of conditions without Karl Anthony Towns on the floor. And he almost always in the boom bust tool has optimal percentages higher than his ownership. 9,400, he can take over any specific basketball game. And Houston's been playing more competitive of late, and it shouldn't exactly be one of those like complete annihilation spots here by Minnesota. So Anthony Edwards, I definitely like getting to him. I guess for me, the issue that I'm having is that I really, really like getting to LeBron James at the moment if he ends up playing basketball. He's got pretty high ownership, 9,800, 19.5% ownership, but I think this is one of those things where LeBron coming down towards the end of the season. I mean, we went over the playoff probabilities a little bit yesterday, but a sub 10K LeBron against Toronto and now getting RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly, they're going to be limited. I'm not going to have a ton of interest in getting to them by any means, but what it does is it makes this game a little bit more competitive than what it otherwise would have been. And I think that definitely helps. And it seems like everybody's flooding towards AD, but what you don't understand is like LeBron wants to get himself to this 8 or 7 seed as well. Give himself 2 cracks at being able to get through because of the play-in tournament, the way that this is all formatted. And if you get into the playoffs in the West, The Lakers showed last year they do have the kind of stuff where they can make moves. Specifically, you just have Anthony Davis play God mode, LeBron, D'Angelo Russell. You can take off the floor if the defensive inefficiencies are there. They don't have a Dennis Schroeder to rely on, but Austin Reeves has been playing good basketball. I just think you're going to see LeBron have more of a minutes upside in the next 2 weeks because these games really, really matter to the Lakers more than they do some of these other teams in the West. So 35, 37 minutes could very easily, in a competitive spot, turn into 40. So it's not like a pure given, but it's sub 10K LeBron in one of the best matchups you could have in the NBA.
Yeah, I really need him to fail tonight.
There you go. I knew we were going to kind of have some flip flop up top here, but for me,
I like how malleable this top range is, though. Like Giannis is obviously a great play. I like this GPP pivot to it. LeBron is obviously a great play. I like that. Like Anthony Edwards is sort of a GPP to it. I like that there are different paths for construction at the top.
Yeah, but I think also the LeBron template is he's small forward, power forward. Gordon Hayward, who it sounds like you and I are astounded by the ownership of, small forward, power forward. So
yeah,
I think it might be something where I'm just flipping a little bit there. I mean, obviously there's tons of positionality of Giannis power forward, and like there's not going to be a ton of overlap. Like, I don't have to necessarily think about them as like, oh, I'm going to have this cookie cutter construction or something like that. But as you said, there's lots of ways to kind of go about it up top here. And for me, I am trimming a little bit of Anthony Davis. I'm playing Giannis. Like I'm going to definitely be getting to Giannis. It sounds like more than you are when all comes to the flip, but definitely like LeBron James sub 10K, knowing that like 40 is finally on the table again.
So I just finished running like a test run of everything that I have. So I'm going to take a peek now and see what came out, at least on the top end. And it's going the way that I thought it would. I have 12% of Giannis at the 45% ownership mark. I have 34 of Jokic at the 9 mark. I'm neutral on AD. I'm half the field on LeBron, and I'm getting to a much more sizable chunk of Anthony Edwards. So everything that I thought earlier today is still holding for me. By the way, in lieu of Giannis, I have a lot of Chris Middleton. So I'm not avoiding Milwaukee. I'm just going to a different piece of it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that whatsoever either. I mean, it's the Washington Wizards. I feel like you want to kind of have everything on the table with them in tournaments. I mean, for me, the main thing is that they do lock early. So any kind of news that comes down later, I suppose, or unexpected news could potentially pop up on any given slate like this. But it is definitely like you pick the team in the best spot tonight. Definitely going to be Milwaukee. So anybody that you want to be firing a little bit more of, Middleton, 7,100, no problem with him on DK. I'm playing DK only, so I'm going to be getting to some of him. We'll talk about Malik Beasley too. I can't believe he's somebody that I've gotten double-digit % of my lineups right now out of the 50 that I'm playing tonight. So is what it is. We'll kind of see as I update everything for OKC and Philly, and I'm just kind of going down the line with everything. We'll be able to figure out exactly where it lands because this Gordon Hayward ownership is outrageous.
Got to hit the Ace of Spades question. We all know what it is. Tiers. Here we go. Tier 1. Got to be Giannis here, although I obviously have a soft spot for Nikola Jokic. It's definitely not AD or Wemby.
Yeah, definitely going to be Giannis.
Tier 2, SGA, not him. LeBron, Jalen Brunson, or Anthony Edwards?
LeBron.
I could go either way on LeBron or Edwards. Definitely not Jalen Brunson.
Definitely not.
Bam Adebayo, Fred VanVleet, Jimmy Butler, or Jalen Green in tier 3?
This is a wild tier because I pretty much shorted Jalen Green in everything, and yet he's the guy that I have the highest projection on. So yay for that. It'd be Jalen Green, I suppose, in tiers.
I also see it as Jalen Green. Gobert, Jared Allen, Colin Sexton, Denny Avdia, Josh Hart.
Rudy Gobert.
I could flip a coin between him and Denny Avdia here with no Kyle Kuzma, and I could go either direction, but they are the two choices. Chet, Garland, Tobias Harris, Austin Reeves, Middleton, and DiVincenzo. I have a clear answer.
Yeah, Chet.
No, that is not my
clear
answer.
You're going to Middleton. What are you doing?
Damn right. I'm a Middleton stan, baby.
Dude,
I still ride.
No, I was going to say, for the last month or two, everybody's heard my Middleton love too. So I guess we'll share him. We'll be a throuple.
I'm sure he'd love that.
I bet he sure would. He worked all those years to have you and me laying next to him. Yeah, he'll pass on that one, I think.
And then finally, massive tier 6, without reading it all off, who is your preferred tier 6 option?
Evan Mobley.
I agree. And I don't really see anybody that's close for me.
Yeah, I'm probably with you. It's pretty close.
Like, I got a pretty big gap on Rozier, Russell, Porter. I'm not seeing
it. Yep. Mobley, I have at 40. So, I mean, there you go. 39.
I think I'm going to have to buy new AirPods. I feel like I'm underwater. I can barely hear anything. The pressure in my ears is nuts.
We went robot to water pressure. My voice is high pitched enough. You don't need any more ringing in your ear than already is.
We've talked through the questions. I have a couple more super chats to hit on first, but we're already 25 minutes into this, which means it is time for the first of 3 separate fun things to do around here. Hit the like button if you know what's coming. You should already hit the like button if you haven't. It is time for the exotic play of the day.
You've made this your own like 3-act. Like this is like perfectly broken into like Ghost of Christmas past, present, and future now.
I'm a big fan of what this is. It's so good, man. It's so good.
Every day.
So good. So Eric, I ask you, as it slowly ends on screen for everybody else, who is your exotic play of the day?
Still got to be Chet Holmgren. I mean, come on now. I know you're probably going to go to the Joker because it sounds like you're going to be making a nice stand on him, but I got to just stick with Chetty here, right around a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy on the season. It doesn't feel great having Joel Embiid show back up here in this spot, that's for sure, but you take SGA off the floor, you take Jalen Williams off the floor. This is not exactly something that I'm all that looking forward to. Let's see. I just pulled it up here. Oh, that's why I have it this way. So the date range, I changed it for when the Gordon Hayward trade went down earlier in the day, and I just forgot to change it back. Even though Gordon Hayward with Jalen Williams and SGA off the floor, over a 1 point fantasy point per minute guy. Again, just 60 minutes because Jalen Williams and SGA haven't been out together in absolutely forever. There aren't going to be many situations where not one of them is on the floor, but still one of those things where Chet Holmgren right around 1.4 in 19 minute sample size. 19 minutes isn't a sample size, if we're being honest, but Chet Holmgren, he's projecting out phenomenally well. There is reason for it, friends. Chet Holmgren, the play that I hate to say the name of the night.
You're going to go with Chet as your exotic play of the day. 3 of my top 4 exposed guys right now are that type of play. I am not going to go to Nikola Jokic. You want Chet? I want Chet E. Give me Chetty Osman, the white of the night. Get it, guys. 30 plus minutes. San Antonio. They don't have enough dudes. 3,900. It's Chet E. White of the night, baby. Let's go.
I get worried that there aren't people who watch every single day and they're hearing it for the first time and they're just listening to it open air in a coffee shop somewhere and they just hear you say that and they are never allowed in their coffee shop ever again. So it's not very nice of you.
I'm not going to follow up on that one. What I am going to say is sign up at Sleeper. They're the sponsor of this show. There is a link in the description. You will also find one in chat. You can click that link. Sign up at Sleeper, get up to $500 on your first deposit. They've got dynamic payouts, so you can get multipliers on each side. You can use Odd Shopper to find the plays each day. We've got a free square on LeBron James tonight. You should use free squares every single day. Helps keep the costs down. Just sign up. If you find out that you don't like Sleeper at that point in time, play through the bonus, take it out, and figure out where you want to be after that. But give yourself the opportunity to find the best lines. It's no different than sports books. Shop around. Some of these sites are going to have different places that you're going to find the best plays. No reason to not put Sleeper in your holster. So sign up at Sleeper, link in the description or in chat. Let's talk GPP plays.
Okay.
Who are some guys that aren't getting a lot of ownership that you tend to want to get to today in some of the larger field contests. I've already mentioned Anthony Edwards and Nikola Jokic as sort of my options, but who are you seeing that's not getting the love you think should?
Are we playing Sandro Mamukashvili in that same spot? Because now that's immediately who my brain goes to. He's got power forward eligibility, 3,600. And I was going through everything from San Antonio before the show, and I was like, holy shit, am I going to actually be playing a ton of this guy? It feels really, really thin because it's Popovich. He could always do whatever he wants at any given point in time. But with Dominic Barlow out, with Zach Collins in his current role, there's got to be minutes for Sandro Mamukashvili. We have him in for 21. I wanted to get your take on him first before anybody, because I currently have 28% of him, and I don't like it at all.
I don't really have him. I have 2%. I get the play though. Like there's a quick path for him to get minutes, whether that comes at the expense of Zach Collins, whether that comes at the expense of Wemby, or whether they just kind of become this 3-man band between the 4 and the 5. I think he can kind of go either direction there, and it would make some sense. He just doesn't happen to be one of the value plays that I'm getting to. Whether it's Gordon Hayward or Cason Wallace or Lou Dort at this point at 4,300, Pat Bev, Jared Butler. Like there's so many pay down options now that he's just not a guy that I'm getting to, but I don't think that he grades out poorly by any means.
Okay. For me, it's simply like being able to react to not something in the same price point. He's actually $300 more than Gordon Hayward. But if I'm going to be taking an underweight approach to a dude in Gordon Hayward, who we currently have in for 28 minutes, which is a very, very uncomfortable thing for me here at the moment. I'm kind of looking at other power forward center types. And obviously, power forward is loaded at the top with Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo in the best spot ever. There's lots of ways that Walker Kessler, I mean, I'm going to have tons of him at center, but I'm kind of just interested. Obviously, there's a lot of ways where, the quick path to minutes is they're down 25 entering the fourth quarter, like it seems all these teams are in Denver. And Sandro just cleans up for 12 minutes. So there's Tyrese Maxey's out, isn't he? Is that what the thing was? Yeah, great. I hate it here. This is not fun.
Oh, you didn't want to play a little bit of campaign?
No, but now we have to talk about it.
Probably, right?
They've never shared the floor. That's the annoying part, is like you run stuff and you're like, oh yeah, the Kyle Lowry wasn't here, Buddy Hield wasn't here, and Cameron Payne wasn't here. It's not like they aren't practicing, or they're like Joel Embiid's going to be fine with everybody. It's just like iso ball, pass it to Joel Embiid and let him do stuff. But like, we need these other guys to do stuff. And I was really hoping Maxey was in so we could just write this whole team off. Alas, we're fucked. Gill is starting for the Wizards.
Embiid's going to end up playing 34 minutes tonight, and it's just going to be like, he drops 80.
Dude, Gill is starting for the Wizards. Why? $3,100 Anthony Gill is starting for the Wizards.
Yeah, obviously now he looks significantly better than he did previously. Anybody can close for this Wizards team tonight, which is the slight hiccup. Like, whatever the hot hands are, other than Denny and Jordan Poole, like those other, probably Kispert, those other two guys are going to be out there. But yeah, add another guy to the list.
Great. This is what we were looking for. I mean, I guess it was always going to be like him, or like,
they're missing so many dudes today.
I know. It's just awful. I don't like this. I didn't want to think about a $3,100 Gill.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give him probably an extra minute or two at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying. We had him at 18. I'm going to have to give him like 2 or 3.
I had him at 21, but...
Oh, there you go. That'll be fun.
I think I probably have to go to like 23 or something now. I had some minutes left over for didn't know what to do with it, don't know what guys exist minutes. Quickly, Brown, Dick, Barrett, and Olynyk. That's the starting lineup for the Toronto Raptors today.
Brown Dick, what do you see?
Huh? Should I know what that's
like? No, it's just like a book back in the day that
like
a Brown Bear. It's Brown Bear. Or whatever. Brown
that's
what?
Fair.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's just the way I heard it when you said it.
I get it. Oh yeah, Marvin Bagley. I couldn't figure out what name to click on there. Anthony Gill playing alongside most of these guys, 98 minutes, 19% usage rate. Don't really anticipate that being what carries through, but If I give him
SWH.
23 minutes, that's probably a thing,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's the range. And obviously he can close because he is starting here. And that
Yeah.
is not something that I necessarily thought was in play for today. So riddle me that, Batman. 23 minutes, I think sounds about right. Johnny Davis is the worst basketball player that I've ever seen in my entire existence. Omar Rui would have been a lot of fun. This Tristan, I don't. Is it just Vucevic? Is it like same pronunciation?
Probably. It might be a harder K. I don't know for sure.
Okay. Vuk.
It might be
Sivic.
Vucevic.
Vukcevic. Okay. I literally haven't watched enough Wizards basketball to know at this
Yeah,
point
I
in
didn't,
time,
I
but
don't know it either.
okay. I am pretty confident that Anthony Gill is a guy that I'm going to roster more than I wanted to. I mean, I thought Patrick Baldwin would have been a lot of fun, but alas, why can we have nice things?
So circling back to do you have any GPP plays that you like question before we started to
Yes,
get
yes,
more
yes,
and more
yes.
tumultuous answers? Do you have any GPPs?
Oh, yes, I've got some GPP plays. I've got some
Okay.
things. I've got some
Let the
things
people
that we
know
can go
what you
to.
got going on.
Who wants to die on Yurt 7 Island yet again at 3K?
Oh,
It doesn't sound fun, but I do think that there's something where him and Sandro together, you're just hand building. I'm going through, and again, I'm playing 50 lineups. I can edit pretty easily going through some of these. I do think having some Sandro at 3,600 and some Yurt 7 at 3K and playing some scenarios where this gets completely hog wild is not the dumbest thing that has ever been, where both of those games could just get really, really wonky. San Antonio taking on Denver, obviously, and then the center spot here with Yurt 7. It's more of just like, yeah, I mean, they're not correlated, they're different games, but like I like getting to some of these like cheaper guys if I'm going to get away from some of this ownership that exists. And obviously, Walker Kessler is a really good play. He's my highest exposed player that I have right now, but
yeah.
these lineups that he doesn't exist, I don't mind just getting to a lot of the Yurt 7, and I don't mind playing them together. It's like getting two center spots combined for a grand total of 7,700 for what I presume is 48 minutes, but you never really know because there have been so many times that I thought I knew, and then Yurt 7 just doesn't see a floor. So that one's got me pretty uncomfortable, but I think we've got some pretty good chalk on the top end with Giannis. I think there's good chalk that exists that are guys not named Gordon Hayward. I like getting to Walker Kessler still. I like getting to Anthony Davis. Like if I'm going to be getting
Yeah.
to some of these pieces there, I don't mind getting different with like Sandro, Walker, not Walker Kessler, with Yurt 7, couple of these dudes.
Bryce Sensabaugh is my guy that isn't getting as much ownership as I think should. Utah only has 10 guys today. He already starts. He should be earmarked for 30 plus minutes in this spot. 12% owned. Not the worst per minute, dude. He's a little bit over 0.8 fantasy points per minute. He's a guy that I don't think is getting as much love as he should be as in comparison to some of these other value plays. Like we're seeing Case and Wallace get close to double the ownership. I don't see those guys as appreciably different plays. I actually have Bryce Sensabaugh as a better option today. I mean, even just seeing someone like Gordon Hayward, like I understand he's $1,000 cheaper than Bryce Sensabaugh, but 72 to 12 doesn't compute to me. I have half the field of Gordon Hayward right now, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't hate that whatsoever. I ended up on 10.5 points for him last night. I did a radio show with Adam Kaufman and was talking through some specific stuff and got on 10.5. I think he's at 11.5 now. I do think there is an opportunity for minutes upside looking into it. So he's not somebody that I was taking any kind of like an appreciable stand on. I think I had 8% of him in my last run. Part of it is that I was, running stuff with a lot of these Oklahoma City guys, Giddey, Wiggins, Lou Dort, and then Gordon Hayward. I was kind of getting to all four of them in just different amounts, obviously just eating up a lot of value spots in the first game. Trying to take that down and walk it back a little bit, specifically Gordon Hayward, and then the other guys still getting mixed in. Seems like just because they're 3,500, 3,300, 30, what is it, 4,300 for Dort, identical tag there. But I think Bryce Sensabaugh is a really nice shout out.
Cool. Anybody else you want to hit on here? Oh, God. Campaign is going to be an issue, I think.
Yeah, I just saw it. I don't want to. I hate it. I hate it so much. But like, I don't know how you don't give him a gob of minutes here. It's just, it sucks. But at least it's Oklahoma City without SGA out there. That's kind of useful.
Oh, man, this is brutal. This
What
is
are you
so
doing with
brutal.
Kelly O? I just started getting Kelly O in my life.
Oh, I assume that I won't be getting to him.
That's probably a good thing because I don't want to, but it's going to be, this is all sorts of messy.
I'm
Oh,
just
yeah,
finishing
Sims
off.
tool. Hi. Hello.
I'm taking a look at Philly now. I just bumped those campaign minutes. Yeah, he's an issue at 4,200. Call him a .9 guy in this spot at
That's what he is.
4,200. He becomes one of the better value options. If I'm just like ranking him quickly, just off the top of my head, he just jumped to 5th overall for me.
Payne is
Somewhere in
starting
like the
something. We're
20.
assuming he starts. We're assuming he starts to the people who are asking.
Lowry, Oubre, Harris, center. He doesn't have to. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. I went with the assumption that he is, but they could just as easily get Buddy Hield out there now if it's Embiid.
I thought they would maybe go Batum. They've done Batum at the 4-2, where it
Yeah,
could go
they
Lowry,
could drop
Oubre,
everybody
Harris,
down.
Batum. I thought that would be more likely, but I currently have it Payne, Lowry, Oubre, Harris, Embiid, and if it comes out differently, I will do something about it. I won't get this much campaign, but yeah, I just put him in for 31 minutes and I'm just screwed.
Yeah, I could go anywhere between Payne, Hield, and Batum in this trio, and it will sort of depend on whether or not Joel Embiid is starting to.
I guess that's a good point, is that, they could decide to say Embiid come in at the 6-minute mark of the first and then play for 12 minutes and then come out and then do the same thing where he like closes a game to some extent. Like, you still want him closing this basketball game. You're not bringing it back to not close. So like whatever they do staggering the minutes wise, like, I don't know. It feels like one of those where maybe they do react to however the first half goes for him, or whatever the score is, that they can do certain things there. I mean, are they still only? What did the line move to here? I haven't updated that yet.
That's a good question. I haven't looked. Let me look.
I'm just curious.
Philly -3.
Okay, that's not a crazy move. Like, not like because Joel Embiid would generally, you're thinking, oh God, he's going to move it like 6 or 7. Like, this is one of those.
Well, don't forget, we also lost Giddey too.
Exactly. We
or
lost
not Giddey, Maxey rather.
SGA, Maxey, and Williams. Like, there's been a lot of back and forth with this number the entire day. I will say, money line Philly 135 over on DK. Hi, how are you? I'm probably going to find my way onto that.
There you go. All right, we've got to another spot here. Who is the nuke of the night?
Go. Hit the animation. This one's more fun. It's more fun to get my dick blown off than, have...
Normally you got to pay a lot of money for that.
Stilettos. It's my thing.
Before we get to that, we're going to start working our way through some of these super chats. Some of them...
Yeah.
I wish I could click a refund button on, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that. Freudian slip. This wouldn't be the show I know and love without the exotic animation. I couldn't agree more.
Welcome, Josh. Glad to have you here. Thanks, buddy.
Who's the nuke of the night?
I hate it. It's really unfun, but I'm going to go Karis LeVert. 6,700 Karis LeVert. Him, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. This is a Cleveland team that plays again tomorrow in Phoenix. And I think there's going to be an opportunity for these guys to play a lot and try to solidify this one. It was more of like, hey, Donovan Mitchell, you're going to play one of these 2 games, and it matters more to have you in Phoenix than what it does to have you play against your old team as much as you might want to. But Karis LeVert, the assist rate when you take off Donovan Mitchell, I mean, this has just been wild what we've seen from him, kind of playing a little bit of a different role. I'm also under the assumption that he'll enter the starting lineup again, because that's what had happened until Donovan Mitchell had gotten back. And we had seen 38, 37, 38 minutes in 3 of those starts right off the get-go. They then lost by infinity to Miami in the weirdest game ever, and then blew Charlotte out of the water. I have Karis LeVert projected for 3.5 more minutes than we do right now. I do think if it ends up being a Hulk slam, it's probably Karis LeVert doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. And he's rated a 1.05 fantasy point per minute guy. I upgraded him a little bit as well. Karis LeVert, relative to what we have here at Stochastic today, I mean, I'm in love with our projections. Everything looks phenomenal. The Sims tool with Trendon Watford and Grant Williams and everything else yesterday was an absolute smash for limited lineups for me. Saw Tom, our CEO, take down first. I'm hoping that's going to be me tonight here. And the only thing that I did different was I ROI boosted Karis LeVert, your nuke of the night.
I wanted to go to my boy Jokic, but that seems like a little bit excessive. So I mentioned him before, and I'm going to mention him again. My nuke of the night is Chris Middleton. Love the spot. You get away from some of that Giannis ownership, and you go to the second best option from Milwaukee to just smack around this Washington Wizards team. Now, I got to hit a couple of these super chats, and some of them are going to be unanswerable. Tim Bourne, favorite GPP play at each position, and what do you think of Max Strus tonight without Donovan Mitchell? Strus is not someone that I'm playing, so we could be very quick there. Do you have any other Strus thoughts?
Nope. 17.5 was his PRA line. It didn't really change. Everybody else's went flying. So take that for what it is.
And then the next question would be favorite plays at each position.
Favorite plays, period. Josh Giddey is going to be your point guard, shooting guard. I'll just give you those two right off the bat. Patrick Beverley for value, somebody that we haven't talked about at all. I like him. Small forward is LeBron for me. Power forward is Giannis, and center is Walker Kessler.
All righty. Official Chris said, "Hi, Josh and Eric. I'm playing Isaiah Joe in 25 to 30% of my lineups on FanDuel. Am I crazy? Thank you, guys." Yeah, probably. That's a little healthy. There's definitely upside.
I mean, how much does the money matter to you? I think that's one thing we don't ever really talk about on this. Like, there's an opportunity cost with some of these things, but like, if you're saying that, like, I'm okay losing everything today, but if Isaiah Joe goes for 35, 40 and I don't have him, I will jump. Like, Isaiah Joe, fantastic to have him in that allotment of lineups. I would never recommend it. I have him in 2% right now out of my 50. Yeah. So 1 of 50.
He's not who I'm getting to, but he could just as easily play 30 minutes today. So
correct.
There is a path to it.
Yep.
Chukwudi, why do my late swap uploads to DraftKings keep showing errors and editing less lineups than the swapped lineups? That is an impossible question to answer on Live Before Lock. I wish that I could do more. You would like to email support. That would be great. But there's absolutely nothing I could do for that right now.
Yep. There you go. That's the Josh we know and love on Live Before Lock. I need to have a little bit of the path. No, that's perfect. He super chats money though. Be nice to the man. I mean, it's support nice to get money
at stochastic.com.
There you go. Thanks, Josh. Great.
Hop in Discord. We have a support channel for the Sims as well. There's no way to hash
Can you believe
that
this guy? Here's the difference between Greg and Josh on Live Before Lock. Greg will just be like, hey, let me walk through the process and help you find your way to...
That's not what the show is for. And Brian Peel, this one's tough too. Favorite PrizePicks 2 or 3 man stacks?
Oh, so I do actually have one for you today. It was
good. I don't.
Oh, thanks. There you go. Miles McBride. So what's happening a lot on PrizePicks lately with Fantasy Score, and it's kind of been this way the entire season, and there's only a couple of times to fire it up. I put a couple of cards in the premium Discord for the people because I thought there were some really, really advantageous lesses to take over in the Minnesota game. Jalen Green under 24.5 points. You've got a number of fantasy scores that exist in that one that just felt a little bit a touch too high, but most of the time, they're lowballed to a certain extent to make it seem appealing, and then you can react to a little bit of news. Let me see where they are at here right now. All right, Dante DiVincenzo, he has moved a point, but 30 fantasy score for Dante DiVincenzo for FanDuel scoring. We're talking about a guy who's been around a 0.95, 0.98 guy here. I don't want to go crazy ripping that off the floor against Miami here. Yeah, it's the 2 slowest paced teams that are going to face off against each other, but Dante DiVincenzo at 30, and then Miles McBride has now been taken from 22 to 24. That's a little bit different, friends, but I still have him at 27.5. So 24, there's a little bit of meat on that bone, but if you're looking for like 2 or 3 mans there, that entire game, it's not really fantasy viable, not really one that I'm going to be going they're really not showing up in my DraftKings lineups at all. But I really like getting to those 2 specifically. Donnie DiVincenzo, Miles McBride, combine them with other things. Enjoy your little 2-man stack.
Ryan with the super chat that said Payne or Beverly or other 4,500 or less point guard.
It was Beverly. I think it is now going to be Payne if he is in the starting lineup. I'm just waiting for that freaking lineup. We still don't have it, do we?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, we're not going to
probably get it. Well, they don't start till 7:30, so that's going to be a late swap.
Joy.
Yeah, I have Payne as the better play, but it's close. It's definitely no one else.
It would be Payne, assuming again, I have him in for 31 minutes. I have him as starting. If both of those things are true, it would be Payne. So there you go.
There we go. Any Jordan Poole love from
No.
Riley Cooper?
I saw he was popping. What is he at? 35%. I don't love him. He is in 10% of my lineup. So the fade section, because again, Josh has a very nice organization going on with this show at the moment. We go from segment I hate to other segment I hate, but like hate a little bit less. And then this where, we're talking about fades. Jordan Poole, he goes in the bucket. And then the Gordon Hayward talk we have to have eventually.
Yeah, let's hit this one quickly because it's going to be easy. Sleeper is our sponsor. We talked about them already. Dinger is our promo code. We haven't talked about it yet. If you want our MLB DFS package for 30% off, weekly, monthly, projections, ownership, sims, lineup generator, contest generator, premium Discord, and more. Tomorrow is the last day. This one goes away. If you're trying to play MLB DFS and you haven't gotten behind our paywall yet, this is the easiest way to do so. Link in chat or the description of this video. Promo code is Dinger. Get yourself 30% off your first payment at Stochastic. MLB has been treating everybody very nicely in the Discord from what I've seen. No reason you guys shouldn't come and hang out with us. Fades. Let's talk through Gordon Hayward. If he's really 70% owned, which I think is probably going to end up being high, I'm going to end up being way under that either way. Is he a really nice point per dollar play today at 3,300 with a bunch of playing time to go around? Absolutely. But that's excessive.
Yeah, it's excessive. And I brought it up earlier, put it in the data range. You don't have enough Jalen Williams and SGA off the floor together minutes to really make it a viable sample size by any means. But you had him get traded on February 9th. You go through his per minute rates and like he seems decent enough. He seems like an all right guy to be getting to in some capacity, but it hasn't been pretty. 0.66 DraftKings points per minute with the Thunder. Again, very different when you take SGA and Jalen Williams off the floor. And we know that you can still get to 26, 28 minutes here, but it just feels like if that much ownership is going his direction and he hits his projection of 25, there are a lot of guys viable coming up later. Cedi Osman, you brought up, Sandro Mukashvili, a lot of dudes that I'm just kind of interested in rotating around and saying, all right, you have 70% of the lineups that are showing up with them. Give me the rest of the pool to kind of rotate around here. And there's a definite path to failure here against Philly where Gordon Hayward, he doesn't have to close. Like, I truly just think it's going to be whoever is playing the best there in this spot. And, Gordon Hayward, there is a major low minutes minutes downside for it. There's no reason they can't start Aaron Wiggins. And I do think this is one of those like after lock situations where if we don't see him starting, there's a definite possibility for him to be way overowned on this slate.
Yeah. I'm very curious of what that OKC lineup ends up being when, because they have a lot of options right now, and I don't really know where I'm, it's going to be a very heavy swap in some direction is my expectation.
Yeah, Giddey, Wallace, Dort, and then Holmgren. I feel pretty confident about those four. I don't feel confident about between Wiggins, Kenrich Williams, Gordon Hayward. I think one of those three. I think Isaiah Joe comes off the bench no matter what. And now watch, he'll end up being the guy who starts. But
and he could be.
Yeah, it feels like Kenrich or Wiggins is the two that I'm leaning on here. And then Gordon Hayward would be like 20 minutes. I'd put him in for legitimately 20 minutes. And he would be the guy I would want 0% of.
Yeah, if he's not starting, I will run away from him as fast as possible.
Same.
Won't even be close. Do you have any other fades that you're looking at? And not necessarily that you don't like him or anything. Like I'm obviously light on Giannis. It's not because I don't like him. He wouldn't be the type of guy that I would mention here. I think Gordon Hayward fits a very different role. But I'm
Jordan
not all
Poole
that light on anybody else.
Yeah, Jordan Poole I brought up. I just feel a little bit uncomfortable at this kind of ownership. I mean, Kyle Kuzma out is very useful. It's Milwaukee, so the pace will still be there. But that's a lot of ownership. A lot of people who have faith in Jordan Poole here. I've played Jordan Poole at low ownership a lot this year. A lot of times to my detriment, kind of caught him on the come up, but like at 6,800, Milwaukee, 13-point dogs, there is a very clear path to failure, and it doesn't feel like that's being expressed with his current ownership.
I had a lot before. I have him projected better than everybody else, so I'm not shocked that it's happening. I'm also not happy that it's happening.
Dude, I have so much Anthony Gill. I hate it here.
I forgot about him. I forgot about so many. Like I just finished running my stuff now. We've got
Yeah.
6.5 minutes until we get to lock. So I'm I'm getting my lineups in at this
Yeah.
point so we can
Good
figure out
call.
what I'm actually going to be playing here. I have so much Chris Middleton, it's insane, but I have no regrets as far as I'm concerned with the
Easy
amount that I'm
boy.
getting to.
Easy
I don't.
boy.
I'm not really getting to much Anthony Gill, which is
Well,
a
fuck
little
me.
frustrating.
I have
I'd like a little
tons.
bit more. If I'm just walking through the guys I feel like I might be getting too much of, I'm not all that mad about what I have at the top. I have 44% of Nikola Jokic right now, so let's get there. A little lighter on campaign, but I can handle that. I'm gonna roll with what I have right now. I feel pretty good with this. Chris Middleton is gonna make or break my night,
Yeah, probably. How
and
much did you
I'm
get of him?
okay with that. How much? I have 45%.
Dear Lord, that's a lot of Chris Middleton. Here's the thing. He can go out and flame throw. Why not? Why not you? Why not today, my friend?
I hope it's me, and I hope it's today.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
That would be
Do you have
fantastic.
one guy that we didn't bring up on the top end, and he's going to be playing without a lot of the normal suspects. And if this game somehow stays close, sweet. Do you have any Wemby whatsoever? We haven't even said his name, and I'm looking at. I did end up getting 6% of him, but I feel like, oh boy, if somehow, some way this just stays close, nobody is on the floor for them right now. I mean, they have Keldon Johnson out, Dominic Barlow out. There's 31, 32 minutes like he always has here, but like he's smashed in so many of these spots, and it's just like we're playing Chetty, we're playing Malachi Branham. I mean, there's a lot of dudes that we're just thinking about here. Sohan and Vassell out for the season. I mean,
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama today.
I have one share.
There you
It's
go.
so like I'm already getting to Jokic as my Giannis alternative. I think Wemby's pretty clearly
Okay,
behind. I think it's not a great spot. Him not having real dudes behind him is I think pretty problematic for him, and I think he's just going to get a healthy dose of the best player on the planet.
that's not good.
No, not at all. So we got about 5 minutes left to go. If anybody has any questions, hit us. But I got to give you one last question: who's taking a dump in your bed tonight? Who gets the Amber Heard play of the day?
I hope it's not going to be Josh Giddey, but Josh Giddey would probably be the guy most likely to take a dump on me at 90%. I have 90% Josh Giddey right now. That's probably a little healthy, and it'll probably move around. I have a healthy amount of Aaron Wiggins too, and some of the other guys. Whoever ends up starting for OKC is going to eat up a lot of that there. Anthony Gill, he's the other guy who could absolutely do it, and I would not think twice about it. I have so much Anthony Gill right now. 50% on the number. That is tons of that guy because, well, one, I didn't think he was going to start today, but two, he's 3,100. And there's a clear path to just more minutes than we think. So I don't, I don't love it. I don't love it, but he is showing up in lineups, and I'm rolling with it.
It's got to be Giannis for me. If he's going to be as chalky as he is, you know me, I tend to fade some of these high-priced chalk guys,
I've
and they
seen
drop
that
100.
before.
They tend to drop 100 fantasy points when I'm not paying attention. And if anybody's going to drop 100 on the Wizards, it's probably Giannis. So I feel like he's ready to give me a big old steaming pile.
Just seen a big old
Loose
ass.
stool from all that like olive oil and Greek food he's eating.
I is that going to be? I mean, I guess it's like good fats. So yeah, Greek food is fantastic.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Not yours. I like the salad dressing on like a Greek
Mm.
salad more than I like it on regular. Like, I'm not a big ranch guy. I'm not a big like Western ranch or Western dressing guy. Like, give me that Mediterranean goodness any day.
I don't like vegetables all that much. I'm not much of a. I
It's a
don't eat
problem.
salads, so that Greek food is, it skews a little bit towards all of the foods that I don't eat.
That's fair. That's fair then. I guess if that's the way you roll, that's the way you roll.
I would
What?
prefer it. I would like to like it, but when I eat it,
Yeah.
it doesn't give me any pleasure.
The way you describe that is my wife hates salads. Like anything that tastes the least amount like salad, that's the kind of like vegetable she's interested in. So you guys get along on that.
I only like dry leafy greens, so like arugula, spinach,
What?
But I hate lettuce.
It's so dumb.
It's too wet.
Oh, is it so wet, Josh?
Any final thoughts you want to touch on before we get out of here? Because I'm going to be on playback live in about 90 seconds.
Nope. I think we're ready to rock. Just if Gordon Hayward is not starting, know that he's going to be the most overowned play on the entire slate, hit eject. And I get it. There are definitely ways that he still pans out for it, but this is a long-term game that you're playing here. And when you start getting into some of these GPPs, I know it's not I wish it were the 150 max $4 today, but like the $4 20 max, or, even in the $15 today, if you have an opportunity to get away from a massively overowned piece of value like that and being able to get onto whomever the other starter is, or Chetty Osman, or some of these other value plays coming up later, just do it and go campaign, because apparently I have infinity of him.
There you go, my friends. We are at the top of the hour. I hope you have your lineups in. Head on over to Playback right now. Don't forget, Sleeper is our sponsor. Sign up. Don't forget, Dinger is the promo code for MLB DFS. Go ahead and grab it. Good luck to everybody here. We're going to have some fun tonight. Go Nikola Jokic. Go Chris Middleton. I'll talk to you guys on Playback. Peace.